Manhattan will eat your paycheck alive. That's not a joke. The average apartment here rents for $5,500 a month for a one-bedroom, 715 square feet. That's roughly 66 square meters for anyone outside the U.S., which is basically a large hotel room. You're paying more per month than most Americans earn, and you're getting a box with a window. Maybe. A doorman building bumps that to $7,290 for a two-bedroom. And here's the part that really stings. About 75% of Manhattan households are renters. Only a quarter actually own their place. The rest are trapped in a cycle where landlords keep raising prices because where else are you going to go? New Jersey? The market got so bloated recently that landlords started offering signing bonuses. 1 or 2 months of free rent just to get people through the door. Think about that for a second. Rent is so absurd that giving away thousands of dollars counts as a deal. That's not generosity. That's a market screaming that it hit a wall. Manhattan is the most expensive rental market in America, and it's not particularly close. The average New Yorker needs to earn over $160,000 a year just to afford rent comfortably. Most don't. San Francisco. Different coast, same nightmare, worse hills. The median home price just hit $1.5 million. Not a mansion. Not a penthouse. A regular house in a regular neighborhood where you can hear your neighbor's podcast through the wall, and people are fighting over these places like concert tickets. The typical home sells in 14 days. 14. You barely have time to schedule a second viewing before someone outbids you by $50,000. Over 60% of homes here sell above asking price, with the average sale landing at 108% of list. The city has 1.7 months of housing supply. For context, a balanced market needs about 6 months. San Francisco has been running on fumes for years, and the tech industry keeps pumping six-figure salaries into a market with almost nothing left to buy. A single-family home in San Francisco County sold for a median of $1.8 million recently, up 12.6% in a single year. Your down payment alone would buy a full house with a yard in most other states. But this is San Francisco. Your down payment gets you a parking spot, if you're lucky. The price per square foot is $1,120 and climbing. Engineers making $200,000 a year are priced out of the neighborhoods they work in. That's the reality of a city built on innovation that forgot to build enough houses. Zurich makes San Francisco look like a bargain bin. Every major cost of living index puts this Swiss city at or near the very top. Numbeo ranks it number 1 in the world, with a score of 112.5 against New York's baseline of 100. The Economist Intelligence Unit ties it with Singapore for the top spot. 6 of the 10 most expensive cities on Numbeo's list are Swiss. 6. Zurich, Geneva, Basel, Lausanne, Lugano, and Bern. Switzerland doesn't just dominate the list. It basically owns it. A basic restaurant meal costs $28 to $40. A fast food combo runs you $17 to $23. Even your morning coffee is $5 to $8, and that's not some fancy latte with oat milk. That's just coffee. Your daily groceries will cost 30 to 60% more than the exact same cart in New York City. But here's the twist that makes Zurich different from every other city on this list. The average monthly salary is about 7,000 Swiss francs, roughly $7,900. People actually earn enough to absorb these prices. The problem is when you try to visit or relocate from anywhere else, your savings evaporate at Swiss speed, which, like everything else in Switzerland, is very efficient. Monaco is where salary stops meaning anything. The entire country is 2.08 square kilometers, smaller than half of Central Park. And the average resale price per square meter is around 52,000 euros. That's about $56,000 for a space roughly the size of a dining table. Over the last decade, prices climbed 44%. In the Larvado district, the number hit 71,000 euros per square meter under Monaco's updated 2025 price index. And if you want something in Mariterra, the neighborhood they literally built by dumping rocks into the Mediterranean and creating new land, expect to pay 120,000 euros per square meter. That project expanded Monaco's total land area by 3%. They ran out of country, so they built more. That's not a metaphor. That's literally what happened. Renting doesn't save you either. Monaco's residential rents are the highest in the world, beating New York by 12%, London by 146%, and Hong Kong by 52%. Only about a quarter of Monaco's 38,000 residents are actual Monegasque citizens. The rest are ultra-wealthy foreigners drawn by zero income tax, zero capital gains tax, and a lifestyle that costs more per square foot than anywhere else on the planet. It's less of a country and more of a gated community with a flag. Singapore solves the land problem in a completely different way. You can buy a home here, sure, but try buying a car. Just the right to own one costs over $100,000. That's the Certificate of Entitlement, a 10-year license you bid on in government auctions. In January 2026, the COE for smaller cars closed at 102,000 Singapore dollars. For larger vehicles, 119,100, and that's before you even touch the actual car. A Toyota Corolla ends up costing around 178,000 Singapore dollars with everything included. A Mercedes E-Class, somewhere between 300,000 and 400,000. A Maybach S-Class crosses 1.1 million. This isn't a bug in the system, it is the system. Singapore is a tiny island nation that would absolutely drown in gridlock without these controls. The Economist Intelligence Unit ranks it alongside Zurich as the most expensive city on Earth. The government announced plans to release about 20,000 additional COEs over the coming years, but experts say it won't move the needle. Demand is just too strong. Next time your city's rush hour frustrates you, imagine paying $100,000 just for the permission to sit in that traffic. And that license expires after 10 years. Then you bid again. London plays a completely different game. It doesn't shock you with a single outrageous number. It grinds you down slowly, month after month, until you just accept it. The average rent across London is now £2,273 a month. That's about $2,880. Wander into Kensington and Chelsea, and it jumps to £3,628 a month. The average home price in that one borough alone is £1.2 million. First-time buyers there pay over £1 million on average. Let that sink in. Your first home, £1 million. But here's what's strange. London home prices have actually been falling. 6 consecutive months of annual decline, dropping 1.7% in the year ending January 2026. Rent growth peaked at 11.5% in late 2024 and has since cooled all the way down to 1.7%. So technically, London is getting more affordable. Technically. Because when your baseline is already £2,273 a month, a slowdown in growth still means you're paying more than almost everyone else on the planet. The ceiling got a little lower, but the floor never moved. And if you're a young professional hoping to buy your first flat in central London, good luck. You'll need a deposit most families couldn't afford either. Sydney makes London look gentle by comparison. The median house price hit 1.76 million Australian dollars by the end of 2025, a 6.4% jump in a single year. Forecasters expect it to blow past 2 million before 2026 is over. Just 12 years ago, Sydney crossed the $1 million mark for the first time. Now it's sprinting toward double that number like it's nothing. Wild. Demographia rates it the second most unaffordable housing market in the world, right behind Hong Kong. The median home costs 13.8 times the median household income. The international standard for severely unaffordable starts at just 5.1. Sydney nearly triples it. Servicing a brand new home loan in this city now requires 68% of your pre-tax income. You would hand over more than 2/3 of your entire paycheck before the government even takes its share, and families are leaving because of it. Without overseas migration, Sydney's population would be flat or declining. Young Australians are walking away from the city they grew up in because owning a home there became a fantasy reserved for people who already had money. Then there's Honolulu, where your money vanishes just by existing on the island. Hawaii's cost of living sits at roughly double the national average. Everything needs to be shipped in because Honolulu is the most isolated major population center on Earth. About 3,800 kilometers from the nearest mainland. Your gallon of milk, your loaf of bread, your carton of eggs, all of it traveled further than most people's annual vacation. Groceries run anywhere from 20 to 57% above mainland prices. A gallon of milk costs $6 to $8. A dozen eggs? Easily over $6. A box of cereal can hit $8 to $10. The median single-family home sells for about $1.285 million. Gas averages $4.86 a gallon, while the rest of the country pays around $3. A family of 4 burns through $1,050 to $1,550 a month just on food. The median household income is about $85,000, which sounds decent until you calculate what $1 million mortgage alongside those grocery bills and that gas price actually leaves you at the end of each month. Nearly 90% of all food consumed in Hawaii is imported. Paradise has a billing department, and it absolutely never closes. You wanted ocean views and sunshine? Cool. That'll be twice what everyone else pays for everything, forever. I'm incredibly grateful that we've become such a wonderful community so quickly. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.